everyone, Curtis here with another episode of Everything Entrepreneurial. In this episode, I'm speaking with Denis Jastrzebski. Denis is the owner and web designer of Curious Hawk, a creative marketing agency based in Longford. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Cool. Well, thanks very much, Denis, for coming on Everything Entrepreneurial. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure. So my name is Denis Jastrzebski, and I run Hawking Design, which is essentially a web design and development business. And I'm based here in Longford. So I've been running it for about 2 years full time. And then before that, it's been kind of on and off, and I was doing projects here and there. And obviously, as the pandemic hit, I was able to take it more full time. And since then, it's been expanding really well. So I've been doing mostly design and development, but I've been slowly branching out into things like SEO, marketing, and obviously just helping businesses in other forms.
Very good. You're the same as myself. I suppose we have a quite similar business. We provide the same services. So how did you get into web design? How did you get into this industry? And tell us about your career up until you started your business.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. It is. When I was in secondary school, my vice principal asked me to do up some graphics for a Facebook page, which were simple, and I kind of did it before. I always found it interesting, so I did those. And he just kind of assumed that I could design websites. So he said, "I know, can you design our website as well? Because it's a bit outdated." And obviously, I didn't know how to design websites at that point, but I said, "Yeah, sure," because they said they were going to pay me for it. So I said, "Yep, I'll definitely do it." So I hopped onto YouTube and I started learning. So I decided to go with WordPress in the end, which is one of the most popular CMSs on the internet, obviously. And then from there, as I was doing their website, it was trial and error, and I was trying different things as well. Obviously, learning YouTube, watching videos, looking at articles, and then pretty much from there, that was the first website I'd done, and that was in 2018 when I was still in secondary school. So after I finished that, I continued to kind of do small bits here and there, as I mentioned, and then pretty much, as I said, as the pandemic hit, I was able to expand that and really focus on the business with so much more extra time I have on my hands now. And I was initially planning to go into accounting after I finished school.
Right.
And I actually did start the accounting course, and I'm going to be finishing the actual accounting course next year in June. But as the business expanded, I decided to go more into that direction as opposed to going with accounting. But I didn't want to scrap the course because I already put a lot of work into it. And as you know, marketing and finance and business management, it all really goes hand in hand. So I said I'll continue with the course. And we went through a lot of things, European business law and things, and GDPR, which all helps when you're designing websites. You're able to be more informed and obviously be compliant. So helping clients is always a priority. So with that, I've been able to use all the information in my accounting course as well to be able to be more of a business consultant as well, because I'm not only looking at the marketing and maybe design sides of a business, but I'm also able to help them with their financing and obviously with all the different grants available for businesses these days.
Cool. So what made you want to become an entrepreneur and a business owner? Because as a business owner, you wear many hats, it can be quite stressful. Starting a business, I know from personal experience, like the money doesn't come running in the door straight away. You have to go out and earn it. So what drew you to starting your own business?
I suppose I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur. I always tried to do bits here and there to make a few extra euros to get something, and I went from, doing a bit of graphic design wherever I could. And some other times it would have been, just looking at different ways that you can make money. I did some transcribing as well for a company at some point. And they're all small things. And I always kind of had that mindset. And I was always really interested in personal finance altogether. So as well with the accounting background, I was kind of get a good view of, the differences between being self-employed and working as an employee for a different company. And I just thought, I like the flexibility of being an entrepreneur. Obviously, you put in a lot of work initially and throughout the whole journey. And as you said, you wear a lot of hats. But I found just being able to be on my own schedule, being able to put in the work when it's most convenient for me, has really made my life much more easy, I suppose, in that way, even though it does involve, sometimes working weekends or sometimes taking calls and different things on weekends, which isn't ideal. But as the business has grown, I've learned how to, create those kind of limits and boundaries for myself and my clients as well, just so we're on the same page. And as you slowly do that, you're able to, to create a really efficient, I suppose, routine with everything. And that was just always really appealing for me as an entrepreneur.
Very good. And what was the most challenging aspect of starting your business? What did you struggle with the most?
What would I struggle? Well, I would have said time management would have been the hardest part, because for me, the whole idea of each aspect of the business was always really exciting. So when I was working, I didn't necessarily always view it as work, which is, a great thing most of the time. But when you're just starting out and you have to put in a lot of work and work a lot of days and be kind of available all the time, you can kind of essentially get into this motion where you're always working. You never really have time off. And I had a period where I was doing this accounting course, which is a full-time one. So I was juggling the full-time course, which was 5 days a week, along with business, taking business calls during classes. Something breaks on a client's website or they break their email, and I have to be, providing support to them. So I was always really working, and then working through weekends to catch up on the work that I wasn't able to do during the week. And I had this going for weeks on end, without really any breaks. And I started to really kind of feel guilty when I was doing something just to relax, because I felt, there's always something to do. And I always had a to-do list that never ends, really, because you can always either be working on a client's website, one of his businesses, or your own, improving it, making sure everything is working great and smoothly, and maybe creating an extra graphic here. So I nearly burned out at that point, because that just happened months on end. And I just started to get into the motions like that. So I had to kind of take a step back and really just review, how am I managing my time? Should I really be working this much? So that was the hardest part for me. And I nearly burned out because of it, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to prevent yourself from experiencing burnout, was there anything that you'd done when you did have some free time, reading books, sports, exercise, socializing? Was there anything that was really important that kind of helped you through that time period?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that I'd do, various things, but because of the pandemic, everything changed into just sitting in front of a screen. So as I relaxed, sometimes I might have watched, maybe a series on Netflix or whatever I was watching. But then that was after a whole day of already working on a screen. And then my course was also online. So I was also looking at the screen for the whole day. And I found that that was just too much. And you're really tired. And then even though watching the show, you're not really actively doing anything. You're just mentally drained from looking at a screen all day. So I started looking at other things, and I did a bit of reading before, but I found exercise was just the best thing you could have done, because at the end of the day, I'd always go just on a walk, and maybe there's a nice walkway just 2 minutes away from my house, so I'd always just go on a walk. So exercise really does help, because you get that fresh air, and at the same time, I was just not having to look at a screen, which is always nice. I just kind of take it in, and I silenced my phone when I was on that walk, just not having to worry about anything for at least, a short while in the evening, which was nice. Yeah.
Very good. And how is friends and family with their support? Has that been important, to lean on your friends and family when things get tough?
Absolutely. It's one of the main things, because if you're just on your own the whole time, and nobody, if you don't really maybe talk about your business as much with friends and family, it might seem like you're just alone in it. And it's kind of nice when maybe you land a new client that's fairly big, or you're working on a cool project, which I always find, really fun. I always like to share that with friends and family, because, it's something fun, something different. And, that's one of the things I really like about this line of work, because I'm working with so many different businesses and so many different industries. And there's just so much, going on at the same time. So it's really, you never really get bored. So it's just really nice being able to share that with friends and family, and we can all get excited together. And then when things do get tough, as I said, with the burnout and being tired, they helped me through they went on walks with me as well, just so I didn't kind of scrap the walk in the evening because I had work to do, which was always really helpful.
Does your friends and family understand what you actually do for businesses, or do they not have a clue? They're like, I wonder what he does.
Well, it's a 50-50 chance, because I might have said it probably a few times of what it could be. Some of them might remember, some of them might not. Well, my mom isn't great at remembering what I do, but she's always really supportive, which is all you really need in the end. But other friends are also have their own small businesses as well, so we're able to kind of chat about how things are going for us, and obviously they'll understand it more maybe than someone that's never ran a business before. But everyone's always really supportive, and just able to chat about it, and even if they don't get half the things I'm saying, they're still happy about it, that I'm having fun.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us about your network. Have you focused on growing your network since you started the business? Do you have a network? Tell us a little bit about that and the importance of it to you.
Yeah, that would have been one of the major things that I focused on with the business, because obviously Longford isn't maybe the biggest and most popular of places, as opposed to maybe Dublin, where there's lots of people and there's lots of opportunities. So I did really focus on getting to know a lot of the local businesses as well. And I've lived in Longford, for the past 10 years, over 10 years. So I knew a lot of the businesses as well. I would have already shopped there, hundreds and hundreds of times. So it was really nice, being able to get to know the business owners. Things like joining the local Chamber of Commerce was great, because obviously then you're exposed to even more local businesses. And the AGMs that they have, you're able to meet everyone in different places. And obviously Longford isn't that big, so there isn't that many maybe networking events. But I did join our local Grow Remote group here in Longford, and they obviously advocate remote working environments and pretty much bringing people back to rural places in Ireland, or nice counties where maybe people would have moved into cities. So that's been great, and we've been able to work on a few really nice projects. Last year we worked with some transition years in the local secondary schools at a creative film project. So they did videos around their county, and then that's being advertised by Creative Ireland, as well as the Longford tourism offices and so on. So just to attract remote workers, and they were able to get some good work experience out of that. We were working with another company that was doing the video productions for us and the editing. So yeah, it's been a really nice journey as well, getting to know people all around the place, and as well Grow Remote. It's just a really great initiative.
Brilliant. I'd like to know your thoughts, or if you have any advice for business owners that are listening, about their websites, about like getting their branding or their graphics right, SEO. Do you have any general tips that you'd like to point out to business owners?
I would say there is a huge emphasis on SEO pretty much ever, because it's really the new way of advertising. It has been for years, since the internet really went online. But I found that in Ireland sometimes it's hard to adopt new ideas for different things, and sometimes it's even a struggle to maybe convince someone that they should get a website. Obviously, in smaller localities, for example, Longford town, it isn't that big, and a lot of the information, a lot of businesses, it's word of mouth. But when it comes to their website, I always look at it this way: for businesses, let's say, that maybe have a brick and mortar store. They could be selling within Longford and they're getting on fine. They're not in any financial difficulties. But if you're able to launch an e-commerce website and go online, which also the local enterprise offices give, a $2,500 grant towards that, which is a great opportunity. You're really just expanding the amount of customers you can have, because you can have people ordering from all around the country. And I have one of my clients here as well. He runs a fireplaces, and it's fireplaces and stone solutions essentially. They install them and they sell them, and he has people ordering off his website from Dublin and all over the country. And without that website, it would have just been a small local community that would have really ordered from him. So first of all, having a website is probably the most important thing you can do. When it comes to SEO, I'd say for a lot of small places, it's just good to have it optimized. Definitely to have a Google My Business page. That'd be one of the most important things for any local business. Because even if you don't have a website, or for example, any keywords that you have or the name of your business will always come up, and at least it'll have a nice formatted view, and just to make sure to keep those things up to date, especially for different opening times and different places. They'll have very opening times, and obviously customers can leave reviews. So it's really important in that regard with local businesses, for sure.
Brilliant stuff. So if you'd like to just give us a quick run through your services that you provide again, and then where people can contact you online.
Sure. So the main services currently that I provide would be web design and development. And then from there, once you have your website, I'll usually have it maintained over the year. So that'd be more like a monthly plan. So that includes things like making sure that the security is there, being GDPR compliant, which is a huge thing now for websites, that everyone should be conscious of that, as well as keeping all the different things updated, along with the information as well, just so your customers are getting an up-to-date view of your business. And then along with that, things like SEO. So I'd do an initial optimization, and then it'd be, once again, something like a monthly plan where we'd be looking at keywords we can target in different places, and we'd be analyzing the whole website for places that we can improve, and then writing content as well, obviously. And in the next few weeks, I'm planning to rebrand from Hawking Design to Curious Hawk, which is going to be a creative marketing agency. So up until now, as I said, I've been doing mostly web design, but I have been branching out, and now I want to more actively advertise those services as well. So it'll be anything that a marketing agency does, including paid ads, Google My Business Management, video productions, and different things like that as well. I'm currently, if you'd like to take a look at my website and some of my past work, you can go to curioushawk.com at the moment.
Very good. Well, Denis, thanks very much for sharing your story. It was great listening to you, and I'm delighted that you started your own business and you're providing services that I also provide. It's nice to meet someone else in the industry, and I hope we can maintain a good relationship. And I look forward to watching your new agency grow. I'm going to be following you online, and I'll show some support. All right.
That's great. Thanks, Curtis. Thanks for having me on.